What questions do we have from either the test or the quiz?
What was wrong here?
Your math.
Okay, so
What page, what number?
203,
203, number 37. Okay. All right. We're supposed to find the equation of the line that passes through -7. Somebody stole my marker. You know, I accidentally left out all these colored markers, and they steal the only not colored one. Kind of heathens. Did you forget your calculator?
Yeah.
Nice. You got this. We want to find the equation line that passes through -7, -3, and is perpendicular.
is it -7, -3, or -7, -4?
It is -4. You're like, I found my mistake already.
Yeah.
Y, and it's perpendicular to y equals 1/2 x plus 9. Okay. The fact that our line is perpendicular to that line, what does that tell us? Negative reciprocal slope. So our m is what? -2. Okay, so now I'm going to do this two ways because it's worth doing, and for posterity and because you may have done it, different people may have done it differently, right? So if you do it using slope-intercept, you would have said that you know y equals -2x plus b. And then you would have plugged -7 in for x and -4 in for y. And then you would have solved for b. So you would have multiplied and gotten 14 equals -4 and then plus b. And then you would have subtracted 14 off and you would have gotten b equals -28. And then your final equation would be y equals -2x minus 28. If you used point slope, you would have plugged it into y minus y1 equals m, which is -2 times x minus x1. And you would have plugged the point into there. So it would have been y minus -4 equals -2 times x minus -7. You would have ka-chink those and distributed the -2, which may have been where you made a mistake. I don't know. That might have been what happened. You used point slope, right?
I used slope-intercept. I just didn't.
Oh, you didn't really show what you did, so who knows what you did. Okay. So you would distribute the -2, and you would have got y plus 4 equals -2x minus 14. Right? Because ka-chink, and negative times positive, and then you would have subtracted 4. Making sure to subtract to the one that doesn't have an x. I had somebody on an Algebra 1 test or quiz make that mistake recently. Okay. So did you figure out what you did? Okay, good. What other questions do we have from either the quiz or the test? I know we have questions because the grades on this test were not where they really should have been, like overall. Well, you may be the exception. So, do what?
Number 8 on the test.
Number 8 on the test. Okay. Number 8. Okay, so number 8, we are given the points A, 8, -2, and B, 4, -1, and C, -2, -7, and D, 6, -9. And we are asked to determine whether these are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. What do we need to know about line AB and line CD in order to know whether they're parallel, perpendicular, or neither?
Slope.
Their slope. What's the slope formula?
Equals y2 minus y1 over the x of the same.
X of the same. Okay. Okay. So we need to find the slope between AB first. On some of your tests, by the way, I will throw this out there. If you do all the work on the calculator, I can't give you any, and you get it wrong, I can't give you any credit for like that because I can't see what you did. I don't know whether you did like one little thing and like missed a minus, or whether you just like jumbled it all to heck, right? So show more work and you get more credit. So and then your grade goes up because some of you, it's like you may have just made like a tiny negative mistake on a problem, but then it's a -12 or something and for the problem because I can't see it's not really, it's not just like, oh my gosh, they didn't show, I'm not counting off for you not showing your work. There's only like a handful of problem types where I would do that. There are a handful of problem types where I have to count off even if you get it right and don't show your work because the work is kind of like the point of the problem. Less in this class. There's like 1 or 2 in Algebra 2. Because I don't care if you can punch square roots in your calculator, right? I want to know whether you can simplify them and you know how to do it. But that's irrelevant. So the point I'm making here on a problem like this or whatever else, show your work. And this may not have been the problem. This may not have been what, like you're like, I showed all my work and it's crapped up. But like, just that happened on 1 or 2 of your tests. And I want to emphasize that. Write down whatever you're sticking in the calculator. Because then I can know. Because if it's just a minus mistake, that's probably a -1 or 2 or whatever, depending. Okay, so what am I going to put here? What is y2? -1. What is y1? -2. What is x1? x2, excuse me.
4.
x1?
8.
8. We're going to ka-chink those. So we end up with what? -1/4. Because the 4 minus 8 is -4, right? And then we find the slope between C and D. What's going to go right here?
-9.
And here?
-7.
What about this one?
6.
And finally,
-2.
great. We got to, whoa, that's cute. Ka-chink those, right? -9 plus 7. -2. 6 plus 2 is 8. Now, this guy reduces, right? So this equals -1/4. So since they're the same, these two lines are what?
Parallel.
They're parallel. Which I don't think is spelled like that. It doesn't look right.
It's 1 R, 2 L's, and 1 O.
Yeah, but is it A and an E? Maybe that is right. I don't know.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
I don't know. Maybe it's just because I drew that A weird and it's throwing my brain off. I don't know. What other questions do we have?
Could we do number 12?
Sure. I'd be happy to. Okay, similar idea. Sort of. Similar idea to the one on the quiz, actually. We are supposed to write an equation in slope-intercept, the line that passes through 8, 9, and is perpendicular to negative x plus 1/2 y equals 5. So the fact that our line is perpendicular to that line, what does that tell us about our line?
Opposite reciprocal slope.
True facts. So we need to figure out what the slope of this line is, right? We can't do that yet just by looking at it. Unless we do a little mental math, that'd be the only way we get there. So what do we need to do to figure out the slope of that line?
Move x over and multiply everything times 2.
Yeah, so we're putting in slope-intercept, ultimately, right? Yeah. So yeah, how do we move the x over?
Add next to both sides.
So then we've got 1/2 y equals x plus 5, and then we multiply everything by 2. So we end up with y equals 2x plus 10. We don't care about the 10 because that's not the same as ours. That's not the same line as ours. Now what do we do?
We're going to do y equals the opposite reciprocal of 2, so it'd be y equals negative 1/2 x plus b.
Yeah. You like combining steps. Takes me a second to catch up to what you're telling me. Yeah, our slope is negative 1/2. So if we slug it into slope-intercept form, it'd be y equals negative 1/2 x plus b, which is what you just said. It just took me a second to figure that out. Now what would we do?
Plug in the point.
Sure, sounds good. What are we going to put in right here? You don't have to sound so excited about it. Calm down. And here we're going to plug in 8. And then we're going to solve for b. So what should we do there?
Multiply negative 1/2 times 8.
Which is?
Negative 4.
Now what?
Add 4 both sides.
Excuse me. So b equals 13. Now what?
Plug it back into the slope-intercept.
So our final answer is y equals negative 1/2 x plus 13. What other questions do we have?
Should be 14.
Sure. $14. Not that 14. This 14. Okay, so we've got this big picture up there. Told that these lines are parallel. Or we're supposed to do it such that they are parallel, whatever. Nope, we're literally told it. Great. And on 14, we're interested in 1, which is right here, and 6, which is right there. And we're supposed to solve for x when the measure of angle 1 equals negative 3x plus 173. Which I almost counted some stuff wrong because in my key, it said, it must have been a printing error or something because it said 17. So I counted somebody's wrong, and then I looked up, well, they set it up right, and whatever else, and then I figured it out. It worked out okay. Moral of that story is if you're pretty sure you got a problem right, and I counted it wrong, you should definitely ask about it. Okay. So, how are 1 and 6 related?
They're supplementary.
They are supplementary, but not through any direct means, right?
You use corresponding angles and then they're supplementary. Or you
Sure.
do vertical angles in the same side.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So you'd either go corresponding and then supplement theorem, or you could go vertical angles and same side interior. Either direction, they are supplementary. So what equation would we write?
Angle 1 plus angle 6 equals 180.
Yep. Negative 3x plus 173 plus 4x minus 8 equals 180. Now what would we do?
Combine like terms.
So that one with that one, and this one with that one. So negative 3x plus 4x is what?
X.
Yep. And then 173 plus negative 8 is what?
165.
165. Now what?
We subtract 165 from both sides.
So x equals 15. Anything else from the test? Our homework lesson today ought to be pretty quick and easy, theoretically. If it's not, that's totally fine, but we have time. That's the point. So any other questions for the test? Okay. All right, what homework problems did we do today? 16 through 36 evens. 16 is acute. 18 is equiangular. 20 is right. 22 is right. 24 is acute. 26 is equiangular. Excuse me. 28 is isosceles. 30 is scalene. 32 is isosceles. 34 is scalene. 36x is 7. The measure of AB is 7. The measure of BC is 7. And the measure of CA is 4. What questions do we have from that whatever that's called? Homework.
Question. So
Okay.
on all the equiangular, I put acute and equiangular because on all equiangular triangles, they have to be acute.
Yeah, that's technically true. Yeah, it's just wanting one, but yeah, that's technically correct.
All right.
What other questions?
The 32, page 240. I said scaling because I probably didn't look at it right, but 32 is ADF.
ADF, let's see. We know that AB and AD are congruent. We know that AC and AE are congruent.
It's kind of hidden, but the length of DE is 5, and that's half of DF,
Right, and that's 10.
and
so
the
that's 10.
AF is 10, so those
Yeah.
two sides.
Yeah, right here I was confused. AC and AE are congruent, as you said, but it
I
only...
feel like you'd have to, well, no, you wouldn't have to
Whoever
use,
wrote in my book is making me mad. But
Yeah.
this right here has two lines here and it has 3 lines here, and I'm like, what? I was assuming that those were supposed to be congruent or whatever, but 'cause-
oh yeah, it doesn't, that's not really Yeah, it doesn't really say. They're probably not the same. It's saying they're different.
There's a slant.
Yeah, they're almost certainly not the same. So those lines are probably accurate, actually. Trying to decide whether we really have enough information to answer. Let me put this up on the screen so I can point
Yeah, he was
better.
right with how he figured out it's isosceles. That's midpoint.
I'm not sure if you actually have enough information to say what he was saying. I think it probably is isosceles, and we could prove it with a little bit of trigonometry. But
We have 10 here. E is the midpoint of DEF. And we have 10 here, which is one of the sides.
Yeah, it
5
says
and 5
E
is
is the
10.
midpoint of
So
DEF.
we've got a 10 and a 10, so it's just the isosceles. I didn't
oh,
even see that. I
yeah,
didn't
yeah,
even see
yeah.
that until he
So
pointed
not AD with. Okay, let me put it up on the screen so everybody can follow. Not AD is congruent to AF, but AF is congruent to FD. All right, so this is the problem in question. And number 30, we are supposed to figure out what kind of triangle ADF is. And if you had trouble on this one, you probably did what my brain did at first too, is you were trying to look at segment AD and segment AF, and there's not enough information to figure that out. There isn't. Well, that only tells us that 8 and 10 are different.
Yeah.
So it's isosceles instead of being equiangular, right? Or equilateral or whatever we want. That's the next lesson. So sure, but there's not enough to tell us whether it's scalene or isosceles, right?
Yeah.
Right, with that. But as you pointed out, it does we can't see it in this picture, but in the information over here, it says that E is the midpoint of FD, which means that this is 5, this is also 5, which means this whole thing is 10. So 10 and 10 makes this isosceles. And we can prove further that it's not equiangular based on what you said, because this is 8, if this is 8 and this is 8, because these marks, so it's not equiangular, it's isosceles. Which is like, does it really say equiangular and isosceles, or does it say equilateral and isosceles? It says equiangular. Oh, on this one. This one is, yeah. Okay, yeah, it does there. Yeah, so that's what's happening in this particular problem. Make sense? You have to be able to turn things sideways and upside down and twist them all around in your head. Sometimes if you have trouble doing it in your head, you can redraw parts of problems on your paper, and it's potentially an easier method for doing what you're trying to do. Okay. Any other questions from this homework set? Thank you. Was it easier than y'all thought? Or about what you expected? I know you. You discussed it when you took it like last week.
Oh, the test? Oh, I thought you were asking about the homework. I was like,
No. This whole unit, I think you'll find to be easier than anything we've done so far, except maybe the first unit. This entire unit is a little bit easier.
keep this trend going.
This particular unit, we do have proofs, but generally, almost always, they are simpler proofs than what we've seen in the past. They're nice. Oh look, we did it. I don't know where I set that other remote. Any other homework questions? This is like the easiest weekend homework set ever. It's like 8th grade math stuff. Nice. trying to decide whether I want to push ahead and give y'all some more information today, or whether I think we will do that instead of letting you go early. Yeah, we'll do a quiz first and then we'll see what happens. Did you watch the lesson for today yet? Good. Good. Look at you. This one's easy. This is easy money. Oh, I said, well, that makes sense. That's fair, I suppose. Did you do your homework for Hero's Journey? Oh wait, I didn't assign homework this time.
I did it last time because my mom beat me.
Nice. Way to go, Mom.
But I left it at home.
You need both of those things? Or
I do need both of those things. That's true. That is what I need.
the one I don't need to turn in correction.
I think some of these actually are y'all's. Let me hand this to some of y'all other ones. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. All right, quiz 4-1. You got this. Page. Yeah, let's do that. I like that. It's a good idea. Let's do it. 240. Numbers 12 and 13. Some groaning. Some more groaning. Oh no.